Well, you have probably seen some closed stores and shops in the La Crosse area, and while no one is shopping at those stores, they can still cost you.
News 8's Alec Giannakopoulos is here with the details in a News 8 Investigates report, Failed Retail, the Price We Pay.
Mike and Martha, with the rise of online shopping, you may have taken care of your whole Christmas list from the comfort of your own home, leaving some retailers struggling. And as some retailers leave the area stores, it's what they leave behind that can be a problem. These lots used to have cars, and the buildings used to have life.
Retail has been hit hard.
Unfortunately, these buildings are leaving more than just an empty space behind.
We still need to keep a fair and equitable assessment.
City of La Crosse assessor Pat Burns has been battling with retail chains that are trying to lower the property taxes they pay.
They have expenses and they need to reduce those expenses in some fashion, and sometimes they use the tax part of it to do so.
Burns assesses how much money a store will pay per year.
We've done our research and our values are appropriate.
But companies are using empty stores to fight the amount that Burns has calculated to lower the taxes they pay the city, in what's called the dark store loophole. Retail spaces are taxed in part by how much they make. Bigger stores that make more money will pay higher taxes than smaller stores that don't make as many sales. So, if a big box store builds brand new building A in La Crosse, the city could say that the company will have to pay $10 million in taxes after investigating how much revenue the property will make. But the company can point to an empty building, Building B, that has no revenue and is taxed at $100,000 and argue that their new store should be taxed lower because a building of the same size and structure isn't taxed as high.
I've had tax reps give me sales of where they tore the building down.
Burns estimates that in the last 5 years, the city of La Crosse has missed out on $1 million in revenue from companies adjusting how much they pay. He says that in some cases it's justified, like at the Valley View Mall when it closes a store and is seeing less revenue.
It just depends on the property.
But it's not just empty properties costing the city revenue. Walgreens are creating a statewide issue.
I don't care for where the Walgreens case is, just because of the sales that are out there.
In what's called the Walgreens loophole, stores that lease their land can say that buildings shouldn't be taxed on sales revenue, but instead just their building's value. For example, a Walgreens in town makes enough revenue to be taxed at $5 million after the city does its investigations. But the store can argue that the building isn't big enough to be taxed at $5 million, and the physical building is only worth $2 million in taxes.
Reduce their expenses to create more profitability for their shareholders. Pretty much what it downs to.
Burns estimates that the city misses out on $75,000 per year on each local Walgreens store in this loophole. With 4 stores in La Crosse, that adds up to $300,000 a year in tax revenue.
This is the city's annual operation costs that are footed by the general taxpayers.
City planner Jason Gilman says when the city loses on these tax disputes, the residents pay the price.
So when you start to spread that burden out, the large majority that have to pay for that burden are the residential taxpayers.
Cities expect a certain amount of revenue to set their budgets. When that revenue goes away from a store lowering their taxes, residents in part will have to cover that deficit.
That in effect shifts the burden within the pie chart of taxpayers.
That's money that could be spent on parts of the city that are in high demand.
The need for social services, decaying infrastructure, which is road repair. The general public, of course, won't put up with potholes, which we all know.
So until someone buys them or they're demolished, these reminders of failed retail are here to stay, and the impact they have on the city isn't going anywhere either. Governor Evers announced at the start of the year that he intends to find a way to close the dark store loophole.